10 of the best winter fragrances that you probably haven't heard of. These are going to each be designer or niche. They are awesome and they're great for winter either because of their sweetness or their spice or their leather or some other kind of rich, bold quality that they have. And these are kind of lesser known or underappreciated, so I wanted to put them before you so that you can get in on this winter action. We're going to dive into this video. Before we do, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And did you know about the like button? If you did, consider giving it a click. Okay, here we go. Let's dive right into this list. We're going to start with this one right here. It pops up occasionally on people's videos, but I think that this is one that has flown largely under the radar as far as the larger community of people who buy fragrances. I'm talking about John Varvatos Vintage. This is called vintage because of the classic feel that it has. This is a spicy, sweet leather rhubarb fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that has a list of, 20 fragrance notes or something, but you're going to see some tobacco there. You're going to see, again, rhubarb. You're going to see some pepper and some other kinds of spiciness. And it is very much a dark, rich, spicy fragrance with a discernible rhubarb note. Rhubarb can be love it or hate it. It's sort of a sweet, vegetal kind of a note. But it's just at the top giving a little bit of flavor to this spicy, sweet leather fragrance. It does have a bit of a throwback feel, a little bit of a vibe of, one of those kind of 80s to 90s monster fragrances. So check it out, John Varvatos Vintage. Something oddly nostalgic about this one, even though it didn't exist, I think, before 10 years ago or so. Really good stuff. All right, next we're going to go with this one right here. This is one that was only officially out from Bath & Body Works for a very short time, less than a year, I believe, but man, it is so very good, and you can still find it online. You can't find it for 25 bucks anymore. You might be paying 50 for it, but it is worth every penny. This stuff is fire in a bottle. Coffee and whiskey from Bath & Body Works. To me, this is kind of a mass-pleasing take on Black Phantom by Kilian's. It is a very boozy fragrance, surprisingly so. Bath & Body Works nailed the whiskey note in this. And then, of course, you've got some coffee, you've got some dark chocolate. It's a very similar kind of fragrance profile to Black Phantom, but it is sweeter. It doesn't have that touch of kind of a pungence or bitterness that Black Phantom has, but it's probably still 75 to 85% similar to Black Phantom. Again, this is Bath & Body Works Coffee and Whiskey. I love this stuff. Very good performance, surprisingly good performance on that one as well. All right, next in the line, we're going to go with a niche fragrance, but a very affordable niche fragrance. This is a 1.7 ounce bottle that I think I got for like 50 bucks. This is from Cologne, Barcelona. It's called Elborn. This is one of the most mouth-watering vanilla fragrances you will ever smell. It does have a boozy quality in the opening, something like a liqueur or something, like a sweet kind of a liquor vibe. And then it goes into this rich vanilla. There's also some honey. There's a vanilla honey in this that isn't too far off from the honey vanilla that's in like Le Male Elixir. And so this, again, if you like vanilla fragrances, you want something warm and sweet and rich for the winter, and you're going to smell different than most people out there, this stuff is phenomenal. Again, Cologne, Barcelona, Elborn. All right, next, let's go with this one. Now, I've mentioned this one a couple times, and without fail, I get somebody saying, Zara fragrances are garbage, they don't perform. Now, whoever said that either has never smelled this fragrance or they just have no idea what they're talking about. This fragrance I will spray on, in the evening because it's quite sweet. And the next morning after my shower, I am still smelling this fragrance radiating off of my skin. I'm talking about Spell Caramel from Zara, and this is a spicy gourmand vanilla caramel fragrance with a ton of spice, and it's even got some licorice, it's got some pepper, I think it's got maybe some cinnamon, ginger. So it's got licorice and ginger and these sweet, thick gourmand notes. It's quite unique. The only other thing in my collection that is similar to this is a dupe of Bond No. 9 New York Nights. So it's in the family of that fragrance if you are familiar with that one. This stuff rocks. Again, Zara Spell Caramel. Next, I'm going to go with one that made a little bit of a splash when it came out because it's very inexpensive, and it is beast mode powerful, and it's quite unique. I'm talking about Joop Homme Le Parfum. Be sure you get the Parfum because this looks a lot like the original, and it couldn't be more different than the original. This is a vanilla gourmand, praline, kind of toffee sweet fragrance. So a lot of thick sweetness. It does have a little bit of a fruity opening. Maybe it is raspberry or something, but it doesn't smell a lot like the original at all. But it has this iris. Iris often comes across as sort of a bright fruitiness or tart fruitiness, depending on how it's used. Think like Le Beau Le Parfum, if you've smelled that fragrance, and others that have that kind of an iris note. Well, this has a powerful iris note wrapped in sweet gourmand goodness. It's long lasting, 10 hours on my skin, and it is, again, powerful enough to easily make it through a winter day, and one that you don't really hear a whole lot about. Le Parfum Flanker of Joop Homme. All right, next we're going to go with this one. This is, I think, one of the best flankers in the Guerlain L'Homme Ideal line, and it's one that you hardly ever hear anyone talk about. I'm talking about L'Intense. This is the smoky brother of the EDT. This is basically that powdery almond, kind of sweet, smooth French goodness with a little bit of some bad boy incense and spice added in. So you get everything that the original is known for, but you get a little more heft, a little bit of a dark mystique added in with that incense. So this one also usually pretty easy to find, and usually among the least expensive Ideal fragrances. Check out L'Intense. If you like this line, or if you're curious about it, I think you will not be disappointed. All right, next, let's go with this one. Now, this one I think came out this year, and it's already dirt cheap because it's a Ferragamo fragrance. And if you can find Ferragamo at discounters, you're probably going to get a really good price. And this one, again, I think came out in 24. It might have been 2023. This is Red Leather. And this is basically like a smooth, soft leather. Think like a supple gray leather couch or leather jacket or something like that with iris. There is a powdery orris. And so not iris in the way of like Dior Homme or something like that, more powdery orris, almost more like something you would find in Prada L'Homme or something like that. And so maybe a touch of the lipsticky vibe, but more the powdery orris kind of a vibe with a unique leather fragrance. Doesn't smell like ombre leather, Tuscan leather. It's too smooth for that. It's too sort of soft for that. So really interesting powdery orris leather fragrance. Check it out, Red Leather from Ferragamo. All right, we got 3 more. Next, I'm going to go with this one right here. This was sent to me by a viewer, which was super cool. So thank you, Caesar, for sending this thing to me. I love this fragrance. I've probably worn it 7-8 times. I've got a lot of fragrances, but I really, really like it. I'm talking about Eleganzo Friday Edition. And so this one it's not necessarily a dupe, although it has strong similarities to Dolce & Gabbana, the One, like a lot, probably 80% similar to the One. But it's also got a little bit more of a cardamom in the opening, almost like La Nuit de l'Homme style cardamom in the opening. And then it's got that three-dimensional, powerful Dolce & Gabbana, the One vibe, that sort of tobacco, almost leathery feel, although I don't think that leather is even a note. And this is a very long-lasting fragrance. It's another one that I can spray on at 6 p.m. and by 7 a.m. the next morning, I'm still smelling it on my skin. So again, El Gonzo Friday edition, really good stuff, and a pretty cool brand too. Inexpensive fragrances. I don't know if they're a niche brand. I don't know if they make anything other than fragrances, but let me know down in the comments. All right, two more. Next, we're gonna go with this one. This is one that if you've been around for a while, you probably know it because it'll catch waves of hype every now and then. It is so interesting and it is so cheap that unless you hate tobacco fragrances, you really should have this in your collection. I'm talking about Bogart Pour Homme. This is basically a simplistic take on Xerjoff Naxos. There's a lot of similarities in the fragrance profile, the way that it comes across in the air, but it has a layer of barbershop like shaving cream laid over, again, a sort of simplified honeyed tobacco Xerjoff Naxos kind of a feel. So really good stuff, $20 often, $25 or less, even on Amazon, eBay, wherever. Throw it in the cart, your next fragrance buy order. If you like what I just described, you're gonna like this fragrance. Really good stuff, Bogart Pour Homme. And finally, this is one that was on my list for like a couple years. I finally picked it up, and this is one that I think is in danger of disappearing or of the price skyrocketing because I believe it was discontinued some time ago. This is Nuit DC Parfum. And this is basically, it's got a lot of the original Nuit DC in it, but it's got a powerful load of spice. There's like Sichuan pepper and maybe even black pepper, like sort of that hot, spiky spiciness. And then there is a powerful dose of leather and vanilla. So vanilla, leather, spice smashed into the original Nuit DC is what you get right here. This is one of those kind of transparent fragrances that lingers in the air for a long time. I will spray this and I'll go nose blind to it almost immediately, and then I'll come in my office 3 or 4 hours later and bam, just get hit again with this stuff right here. Good performance, although if you're like me, because of the fragrance chemical nature of this, you will go nose blind to it. But man, it just smells good. If you like spicy, leathery fragrances, this is definitely one worth checking out. So that's been 10 of the best winter fragrances that you have never heard of. I mean, many of you probably have because you're into this hobby like I am, but these are lesser known gems. And by the way, a lot of the ones I just showed you are stupid cheap. Just looking over them, most of them you could get for $50 or less. Let me know some of your hidden winter gems in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, and did you know about the like button? And if so, have you given it a click? Thank you for watching. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents.